Number 2, reading aloud your daily text.
文化冲击。当你住在国外，有许多因素会使你有文化上的冲击。国外有不同的天气形态或食物，所以在你出国前，请做好完善的准备。文化冲击会让你感到不适应或想家，但通常来得快，去得也快。
Hi everybody and welcome back to the second part of our class. We're going to be reading, not reading silently, we're going to be reading aloud. Don't forget when you do this part of the class, listen to the proper reading and pronunciation first, but then it's your turn to read this article aloud. Now I'll read first so you can hear the proper pronunciation for this article. Here we go. Culture shock. Do you know what culture shock is? It happens when you live in a foreign country. You start to have strange feelings about the country. These feelings can change from good to bad and from bad to good. Why do people get culture shock? Other countries can have very different weather from your own country. This can make you feel strange or maybe sick. After you stay in the new country for some time, you start to feel better. It is smart to look on the internet before you travel so that you can find out about the weather. Then you can plan to bring the right clothes. Another reason that people get culture shock is because the food is so different in the new country. When we eat new kinds of food, our stomach sometimes feels sick or heavy. It is a good idea to try some of the new food before you go to the new country. After you go to the new country, you should try to find some food from your country in shops or restaurants. There are many other ways to feel culture shock. Shopping, eating in restaurants, and meeting people at parties or in school can be very different in other countries. You can learn about the customs and habits on the internet or from books at the library. Culture shock can make you feel very bad, very sad, or very homesick. But there is good news. Most people lose the culture shock after they stay in the new country for some time. Most people start to like living in the new country. They start to like the food more and they start to know the customs. The biggest surprise is that many people feel culture shock when they go back home. That's it for our article today. Another article, I think we've had an article on culture shock before, but this one is a little simpler. It's on the beginner level, and it's talking about what happens when you go to a new country. Some people have difficulties getting used to the new weather or maybe the new food, and so they make suggestions to do some research ahead of time to check out the weather or to eat some of the food from the country that you are going to before you leave home. Other people have troubles with shopping or eating in restaurants or meeting people at school or at parties. But you can find out the different customs by doing some research on the internet or going to the library. It's quite often that people feel homesick and sad or not very happy. But the good news is it goes away and eventually you'll feel a whole lot better. And sometimes when you go home, you'll find you have reverse culture shock, which is rather odd as well. Now that's it for our reading. Don't forget to read this article aloud. not quietly, read it aloud, and that will help not only your reading, but also your speaking and pronunciation skills. That's it for this part. Let's go on to the next part of class.